All right, this is the copyright disclaimer. The copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, education, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Fair use, fair use, fair use.
In 1920, 3 black men were lynched in Duluth, Minnesota. Someone filmed it. They showed the footage in local theaters before the main movie. White audiences cheered. This wasn't the South. This was Minnesota. And they sold tickets to watch black people die. This is documented. Stay with me. On June 15, 1920, 3 black circus workers, Elias Clayton, Elmer Jackson, and Isaac McGee, were accused of assaulting a white woman. A mob of 10,000 white people stormed the jail, dragged them out, beat them, and hanged them from a lamppost. Someone filmed it. The footage was then shown in Duluth movie theaters as a newsreel before feature films. Audiences watched black men die violently, then settled in with popcorn for the main show. No one was prosecuted for the murders. The police chief was fired, not for allowing the lynching, but for the bad publicity. The film circulated for years. Copies were sold. White families owned them. In 1920, lynching wasn't just tolerated. It was entertainment. And Minnesota, a northern state, participated just as eagerly as the South. If they filmed lynchings and played them in movie theaters for white entertainment, share this and make people sit with that. Follow, because the North pretends it was innocent.
A mob dragged a man from jail and hanged him in front of the courthouse, Duluth, Minnesota, 1920. 3 black men, Elias Clayton, Elmer Jackson, Isaac McGee, they worked for a traveling circus. A white woman accused them of assault. No evidence, no trial, just an accusation. That night, a mob of 10,000 people stormed the jail, broke down the doors, dragged the 3 men out, beat them, then hanged them from a lamppost. On the corner of First Street and Second Avenue, in front of thousands, the police did nothing. The mayor did nothing. The mob took photographs, posed with the bodies, turned it into postcards, sold them as souvenirs. The circus left town the next day. The 3 men were buried in unmarked graves. 6 men were eventually charged. Only 3 went to trial. They got light sentences, less than a year. No one was charged with murder. In 2003, Duluth finally put up a memorial. 83 years later, a statue, a plaque, acknowledging what happened. But for decades, the city stayed silent, pretended it didn't happen, erased it from history, until survivors and activists forced them to remember. Comment if your city has history it tried to bury. Follow for more stories America wants to forget.
All right, Shalom. We got the Hebrew Israelites from the Indianapolis branch of the Great Millstone, and we're here to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Rakak Radash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well in teaching us this 100% truth. Salutations to them and our fellow Akim who labor in this truth week in and week out on the highways and byways. Also, salutations to the hopeful elect of the scattered 12 tribes of Israel, scattered to the 4 corners of the earth, that be like it to the speckled bird, also known as your Israelite foreigners, and your so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. To you, we say Shalom.
Shalom.
All right, we are yet doing another installment of our camp series called For Thy Violence Against Thy Brother Jacob. Today's subject is coming out of EJI, one of several sites we use for the information and the content of our video. EJI means Equality Justice Initiative. All right, and today's topic, as you see on the screen, is 3 black men falsely accused and lynched in Duluth, Minnesota. All right, and before we get into the article, we'll go ahead and start with the opening scripture.
This, it's like this Obadiah chapter. This is Obadiah, verse 10. It says, "For thy violence against thy brother Jacob, shame shall cover thee, and thou shalt be cut off forever.
basically that's, when we go into these things, for our violence against our brother Jacob series, ultimately all these things are a testament, all right, against Esau eating the so-called white man, all right, and ultimately going into violence, all the evil, all the atrocities, all the murders, right, robberies and thefts that he's committed towards our people. All right, when you go into the book of Obadiah, we know the ultimate judgment that's going to come upon this devil is that he's going to be cut off forever, and we go into it week in, week out, man. Hey, what we going into, man, that's just what we've known, what we've found so far. All right, the scriptures talk about how the sins of this devil have reached into the heavens. The Lord knows each and every single crime and atrocity that this devil has done unto us, man. All right, so ultimately, hey, everything we're going through, man, all right, it serves as to why and shows you why that ultimately this devil's going to be cut off forever.
I had a precept back you up so that he sees everything. This is Proverbs 15:3, and it reads, "The eyes of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai are in every place, beholding the evil and the good." So there's nothing that gets by the Lord, and the angels that he sanctioned to watch over all the affairs of this world, everything down to every finite detail. Okay, and like it says in Matthew chapter 12 verse 36 and 37, for every idle word, we're gonna give an account thereof, whether it be good or evil. All right. Anybody got anything else? Okay. Back to the article. Okay. And like I said, it's from EJI, Equality Justice Initiative. And starts off on June 15th, 1920, Elias Clayton, Elmer Jackson, and Isaac McGee, 3 black men in their early 20s, were lynched by a mob of white residents in Duluth, Minnesota. The 3 men were in town working with a traveling circus when 2 white teenagers falsely claimed that they and 3 other black circus workers had attacked the teenagers and raped a local white woman. Newspapers reported the alleged assault, and false rumors soon spread that the woman had died from her injuries. The 6 men were arrested and jailed, even though there was no evidence that an assault had occurred. Okay. Goes on to say, in 1920, the black population of Duluth, Minnesota numbered 495 out of 98,000 residents. Many had been recruited from the South to work at United States Steel's local plant, while others worked as janitors, servers, porters, and assemblers, despite their small numbers. The black Duluth residents endured significant discrimination. They received lower pay for their labor and were forced to live in substandard housing in segregated neighborhoods. As in other northern cities during the era of black migration, many white workers in Duluth resented the presence of black workers, and racial tension was high. All right. It says,
I have a quick one.
Go ahead.
And I'm going to read it real quick. This is Exodus 23:1. It says, "Thou shalt not raise a false report. Put not thy hand with the wicked to be an unrighteous witness." Obviously, we understand that these are towards the nation of Israel, but Esau, Edom, they love to put out false reports, man. All right, against Jake. All right. They said in the beginning of the article, man, they was in the town working and they got falsely accused for some major charges, man.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and that's what Esau that's what they was able to do in those times, man. They still get away with it now. They could say anything towards the Israelite that they did something and they would just get away with it, man.
Yep.
All right, because here in Babylon, aka America, Jake doesn't have any defense system outside of the Lord, man. All right, and that's only towards the elect, man. All right, Jake is the nation of Israel is a prey. All right, here in Babylon, man.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Hey, we got all the heathens against us. Mainly Esau, Edom. All right, the court systems and all types of things are against Jake, man. All right.
God, and even 2/3 of our own people. Yeah, 2/3 of our own people. Let me grab a precept for that. This is Proverbs 17:15. He that justifieth the wicked and he that condemneth the just, both are an abomination to Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. And who justifies the wicked? You know, that's Jake. Okay, be right in hand, you know, in lockstep with Esau. You know, yeah, get him. You know, and yeah. So and then like it says, and you know, and he that can condemn the just, that's Esau. All right. Both are abomination to the Lord, and that's abomination. That, you know, is a filthy, wicked act, something detestable, abhorrent. Okay, and we know that all abominations are dealt with via death. All right, so there's going to be some judgment for that.
Precept. This is the book of Proverbs, chapter 19, verse 9. Oh, were you done?
Yeah.
19 verse 9, it says, a false witness shall not be unpunished, and he that speaketh lies shall perish. So we know, let's speak on it.
Yeah, a false witness. Can you read that again?
Proverbs 19:9.
Yeah.
This is Proverbs chapter 19 and verse 9. It says, a false witness shall not be unpunished, and he that speaketh lies shall perish.
God, a false witness shall not be unpunished. Okay, and Esau is notorious, like the brother said earlier, for bearing false witness against Jake. All right, and he will be punished for it. All right, and like the scripture went on to say, he's going to perish. He's going to die for that. All right.
I had a quick one.
Go ahead.
Psalms chapter 10 and verse 2.
Mm-hmm.
It says, the wicked in his pride doth persecute the poor.
Mm-hmm.
Let them be taken in the devices that they have imagined.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and we understand that the wicked, all right, in his pride, what Esau, Edom, we know the so-called the proudest man walking the earth. What in his pride he doth persecute the poor. And who is the poor, man? That's the nation of Israel, man.
God.
All right. His eyes are always set on how to destroy Israel, man. Whether it be something they can do physically or in any different type of way, man. They always want to persecute Jake, man.
Yep.
All right. It says, let them be taken in the devices that they have imagined. Soon come what? The script is going to be flipped, man. All right. All these things that you imagine to happen to Jake, what is going to be? It's going to happen to you, man.
Yep.
All right, and rightfully so, man, because you can't expect to persecute the apple of the Lord's eye with no consequences or repercussions, man.
Mm.
All right, soon Jake is gonna get
Appreciate it.
retribution for the things that you've done, man.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and that's according to the scriptures. All right, hey, y'all had Jake in derision, all right, and had him in slavery. All right, soon come what? You're about to be in slavery, man.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Precept.
That was all.
God. This is to back you up. Colossians 3:25 says, but he that doeth wrong shall receive for the wrong which he have done, and there is no respect of person. And that's pretty straightforward. You know, when it says no respect of person, you know, the Lord deals with nations, okay? And judgments go throughout the third and fourth generation. So you people saying that, well, I wasn't there, that was my ancestors. Oh, you are your ancestors. Nobody trying to hear that shit. You're going to pay for what your forefathers did, as Isaiah 14, chapter 14, verses 21 and 22 tells us.
Grab it.
Yeah. This is Isaiah chapter 14, verse 21 and 22.
You want me to read it for you?
Go ahead.
Yeah. It's Isaiah chapter 14 and verse 21. It says, prepare slaughter for his children for the iniquity of their
It
fathers.
says prepare a slaughter for his children. What is slaughter? Kill. Get ready to kill him. Take him out for his children. Those are his descendants. Okay, his offspring, his posterity. Go ahead.
Yep. It says that they do not rise, nor possess the land, nor fill the face of the world with cities.
God, so once you go down this time, Esau, you will never be in rulership again. Never again. And like you said, because of all of your iniquities, as you know, this is our, I think this will be our 214th video with this one, and we have it, you know, we barely scratched the surface of all the stuff that you did. There are things that we don't know, you know, like they finding these bodies under all these public facilities, you know, graves, you know, of Jake. You know, I think at the police station in Mississippi, they found those bodies buried back there, and they had their wallets and IDs on them and everything, and you know, they were just missing, but they knew where they were the whole time. Yeah, there's just no respect, man. Go ahead.
Yep. Verse Isaiah 14 and 22. It says, for I will rise up against them, said the Lord of hosts, and cut off from Babylon the name, and remnant, and son and nephew, said the Lord.
It says, and cut off the name. That's Edom. Okay. Once you go down and are dealt with, according to Obadiah 1 and 18, by the hand of the entire nation of Israel, you know, you won't exist again ever in this life. And it says, you know, the name, remnant, and son and nephew. That's the seed line. Okay. The men are responsible for a nation, and it's you know, your fathers are gone. They're saying it's going to take the son and the nephew. Okay, and the remnant are those who are left over. So yeah, you are going to be obliterated when that time comes. That's it. Yeah, that was it for me.
This is Psalms chapter 109. In verse 8, it says, let his days be few, and let another take his office. Let his children be fatherless, and his wife a widow. Let his children be continually vagabonds and beg. Let them seek their bread also out of their desolate places. This is talking about the wicked, by the way, which Esau Edom. It says, verse 11, let the extortioner catch all that he had, and let the stranger spoil his labor. Let there be none to extend mercy unto him. And James 2 and 13 says what? For he shall have judgment without mercy, that show no mercy. It says, neither let there be any to favor his fatherless children. Let his posterity be cut off, and the generation following, let their name be blotted out. And that goes to the house of Esau, even beginning with Amalek. The name of Amalek be blotted out. Amalek goes back to the lineage of Esau, Edom, right? Which today they're the modern day Chaldeans. Also, we call them the tiny tops or small hats. That's who they are. They're the wicked elites, you know. And when they go into slavery, it's going to start with them, right? To bind their kings with chains and their nobles with fetters of iron. That starts with them. Verse 14: let the iniquity of his fathers be remembered with the Lord. See, and that's pretty much what's going on here. You know, the iniquity of the Edomites is being revealed. You know, like it says in Lamentations 4, right? The Lord will just discover thy sins, he will discover thy iniquities, okay? It says that the iniquity of his fathers be remembered with the Lord, and let not the sin of his mother be blotted out. Let them be before the Lord continually, that he may call up the memory of them from the earth. See? And you know, pretty much, you know, that's what we're looking forward to, you know. We're looking forward to the Edomites being paid back for all the wrongdoing they've done to us. You know? One more verse, it says, because that he had remembered not to show mercy, but persecuted the poor and needy, that he might even slay the broken in heart. That goes to what the brother point he was just making, man. Right? A moment ago, they looked to slay us. I think he brought Psalms 10. And, you know, they looked to slay us and, you know, to overthrow us, whether it be biochemical warfare, or it's outright just murder. Now we have the public streets. This is what the wicked does against us. You got it, bro.
Okay. It's Obadiah chapter, Obadiah 1 verse 15. It says, "For the day of the Lord is upon all the heathen. As thou hast done, it shall be done unto thee. Thy reward shall return upon thy own head." And because everything in which you do in the world, it has a consequence. Okay, so everything that they've done to the children of Israel, all the nations are going to receive a recompense, from on high, starting from Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. Yahweh Shai says, "Vengeance is mine; I will repay." All right, so as he talked about in Peter, and we're in those times where he said, if he started at the house of Israel, roughly paraphrasing, how much more the sinner and the ungodly. So everyone is going to receive a reward according to their works. So if you're wicked, you're going to receive a wicked reward, and if you're righteous, you're going to receive a righteous reward. That's the balance of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. All right.
That precept just to back you up about everybody putting their hands on us. This is 1 Maccabees chapter 2 verse 10, and it reads, "What nation hath not had part in her kingdom and gotten of her spoils?" So we've been robbed by a lot of different nations, of our birth, well, not our birthright, but our identity. Our golden vessels, those are sitting in the Vatican right now. All of our treasures, everything, except for the Ark of the Covenant, they don't have. So they definitely don't want to have that, because the Lord would have took them out, a long time ago if they had that. So, but yeah, all the nations have definitely had a part in our spoils. That was it.
We got more in the article.
Yep, just a little bit more.
All right. Well, I'll bring this out. This is the book of Isaiah 33, verse 1. It says, "Woe to thee that spoilest, and thou wast not spoiled, and dealest treacherously, and they dealt not treacherously with thee." Pull up treacherously for me, somebody. And so we're looking at these men who were already not receiving a good wage. Because when you read the article, it was all those in the community, in the so-called black community of 400 plus people, barely 500 people.
Yep.
in a city or a town of, actually said 98,000 people. It was 400 or so, 495, I believe.
I thought it was 498.
It was close to 500
Oh, yeah.
blacks within the community, and they were still the least paid. They lived in squalor as far as the towns. And then you have, of course, you have men coming in from different towns, the circus, putting on certain acts. And as a result, you have some young men who actually provoked or caused, falsely, these men to be lynched. So, yes, I'm.
Did somebody bring out Strike 34 already?
Not yet.
I'm
still on this 33
Yeah.
and 1. You read this treacherously real quick.
It says violation of allegiance or of faith and confidence, treason. It says an act of perfidy or treason.
Is there any more?
I'm looking up that word.
Treacherously.
So there was one. What was that? I looked up. I think it was treacherous.
Yeah.
It says likely to betray trust, unreliable. It says providing insecure footing or support, marked by hidden dangers, hazards, or perils. It says characterized by or manifesting treachery.
Yeah. So of course you have all these sundown towns. They created these towns and these different things, right? Laws unrighteous decrees. So of course, so-called black men come into the town, and then it was also brought out that you couldn't even testify or speak, to law enforcement or even make an arrest if you were law enforcement. So there were many different things that tied the hands of so-called black men, first and foremost, so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native American men, to be able to really protect not only themselves but their household, right? To not only be able to pay or receive proper wages, not only for themselves but for their household. And then in the midst of all of that, the places or cities in which they go to, they're also being terrorized. In this case, it was teenagers, right?
Yep.
And so this was like the plight. This is the plight of the so-called black, Hispanic, and Native American man here in the Americas, and this is the rulership in which that still rules to this very day, where the scriptures say that they will not change.
Right.
So it says, so it only Yahweh Shemiel Shai will have to take them out of the way. It says, when thou cease to spoil, thou shalt be spoiled, and when thou shalt make an end of dealing treacherously, they shall deal treacherously with thee. So that goes back to the things in which you've done. It's going to be placed back upon you by the hand of Yahweh, which is Yahweh Shai, and through his men, they're going to receive, the power, to be part of the recompense that Yahweh Bashmiel Shah is going to bring upon this nation, and all the people that were involved in the downtrodden of his people. As the brother brought out, the poor of his people, which are the children of Israel. You had something?
Correction. Yahweh Shah is two totally different entities. He says Yahweh is Yahweh Shah, but Yahweh is the Father. I don't want to look at as Christian. Oh, see. I have a precept back here though. Second Esdras 15:20. Behold, saith the Most High, I will call together all the kings of the earth to reverence me, which are from the rising of the sun, from the south, from the east, and Libanus, to turn themselves one against another and repay the things that they have done to them. Which is what, like you mentioned earlier, you brought First Maccabees 2:10. The one nation have not gotten ever spoils. All the kings of the earth have rejoiced over us. Revelation 11 chapter goes into that. And pretty much this is why the Lord stirred things up right now throughout the earth, because He's getting ready to repay you heathen nations for what you've done to Zion. All right, because we were never forgotten of the Lord. Even though the Lord punished us, we were only given into your hand for a time, to serve as our punishment for being disobedient. But the Lord's going to repay, right? Verse 21, it says, like as they do yet this day unto my chosen, who the Lord's chosen, the Israelites, begin with the elect. All right. I mean, even the 2/3 are the chosen people, but there's a chosen of the chosen, which is the elect. It says, like as they do yet this day unto my chosen, so will I do also, and recompense in their bosom. Thus saith the Lord of power, Yahweh Bashim Shai. See? And the Lord is going to repay, you heathen, by putting you in captivity unto us and make you serve us, and build up our kingdom. Because why? If you look at the history of our people, all these major kingdoms that stood, the Israelites, which is the so-called Neo-Latino Native Americans, our foreparents built up these societies, man. Which we are our foreparents coming back through reincarnation. Egypt got built up by who? Israelites. The Neo-Babylonian / Syrian Empire, they was all rich because of Israelites. Remember you go into the history. What Jake was given? Jake was basically paying Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Assyria. Then the Babylonians took what? The royal of Judah.
Yep.
And why? Because that was the way he was governing over the people. Governing to the southern kingdom, the hearkening to him, and so on and so forth, man. The Medo Persians, Jake served in there. The Greeks, Rome. Yep. So our people been in captivity, for a long while. Even the Midianites oppressed us, along with the children of the east. So Jake been Jake been under pressure. Jake been in captivity for for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I had.
Okay. This is to back you up on those low wages, Barack. This is Sirach 34 and 22. It says, "He that taketh away his neighbor's living slayeth him, and he that defraudeth the labor of his hire is a bloodshed." So yeah, you pretty much low paying them, while the necessities of life, cannot be absorbed. Well, are going to be more than what you're paying them. They're going to always be in the hole. All right,
Yeah.
always be in the hole.
You read verse 21?
No, I didn't read verse 21.
We would start 21 about verse
Verse 21 says, Sirach 34 and 21, "The bread of the needy is their life. He that defraudeth him thereof is a man of blood." All right, so yeah, and that's pretty much saying, food is life itself to the poor. Okay, you can't afford to buy it. Hey, you might as well kill them. Through starvation, so on and so forth. All right, that's just what is it like? Minimum wage is like what, $7.25 or something like that? Yeah,
It's like 7.25.
It's crazy, and these prices are going up. Gas, $4 or $5 a gallon.
I remember getting paid it was like $3.25 an hour.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and you got some Jake, man, they all right with that, which is crazy. You ever see that movie Hollywood Shuffle with the Winky Dinky Dog scene? He at the table was Keenan Ivory Wayans at the table with Robert Townsend.
yeah.
Talking about, yeah, man, this is your job. I went from $2 to $2.25 in 6 months. You talking about making it?
Yeah.
That's what he said.
I remember that.
Yeah, that's what he said, man. But hey.
Hey, but then that's like McDowell's.
Yeah.
He was like, he said, I was once mopping the floor, now it's like I done upgraded to the fries or something like that.
Yeah.
We what he says, the crumbs of the master's table. We're receiving. Shoot, it's like less than the crumbs.
Yeah.
But the Lord said it's the crumbs of the master's table. So like we're getting very little. And no matter like whether we always use these guys because they're prominent names, but Michael Jackson, Michael Jordan, all the Michaels, right? Floyd Mayweather, just these men that are prominent and receiving wealth on this side. These are crumbs, still crumbs compared to what Israel is to receive as a nation. Okay, and that's why the men of the Lord, starting with the elect, men of the Lord, and those that follow, aren't satisfied with what's going on in this land.
Right.
Will never be satisfied with what's happening, though we have to live in it. Like I said, we're in the world but not of it. So we do what we can. We make, we work. We work just as hard, if not harder than. We say we work harder than a lot of average folks in the world. Because we also have this ministry, which is the greatest work. So again, we understand that, through faith, the Comforter has allowed us to understand that, through the understanding of the words, that this is not our rest.
Right.
This is only but for a moment. So we have to endure the afflictions, because first and foremost, we sinned against Yahweh Shem Yahushai. So that again, that itself is also a comforter. This is real quick, the book of Jeremiah. Verses 30. Did you have more? My bad.
I was
Salakia. No, y'all bring out y'all.
I ain't
Y'all
have
bring,
that was Barzal reading.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
I was done.
but that was still the same scripture.
No, the scripture.
that you
No,
wanted.
I was laughing because it was the priest about to bring out. You got
What's that? The one that's
Jeremiah 30:16. Read it.
Oh, okay. Well, I was at 11, but I'm gonna jump to 16 because that's what it was on your spirit. So I had you speak on it. It says Jeremiah 30 verse. Actually, I'm gonna read 11 now. Jump to 16. It says, I am with thee," saith Yahweh.
Oh man, you know what? Man, Malachi 1.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because it says, "I am with thee," said Yahweh Bashem Shai.
Mm-hmm.
Jake don't believe that Yahweh Bashem Shai is with us.
Okay.
And this is why most of our people don't serve the Lord. Excuse me.
Yeah.
And the Lord said, "Yeah, I have loved you," said the Lord.
Mm-hmm.
So at the end of the day, what the Lord prepared for us, man, that's love in itself. The kingdom of heaven.
Yeah.
You know, the rule forever. I mean, go ahead.
Okay. It says, "For I am with thee," said Yahweh, "to save thee, though I make a full end of all the nations, whether I have scattered thee."
Right, the Lord gonna fuck them nations up.
Yeah.
It says, "Miserable are they that afflicted thee."
Mhm.
These nations are going through it right now. You know, on lockdowns, all kind of shit, starving. Man, you see the little Yemenis, people in Yemen. A lot of them fuckers, they starving because they isn't Jake in there too, but a lot of them Ishmael. You know, the motherfuckers starving with their big ass bellies, about to die.
Mm.
I don't care about them motherfuckers. You know, little Palestinians, you know, who cares? It ain't worse than what happened to us. Nope. Go ahead, all right.
It says, I will make a full end of all nations, whether I have scattered thee." It says, "Yet will I not make a full end of thee, but I will correct thee in measure, and will not leave thee altogether unpunished."
Yeah, that's why we got to go through these curses,
Yeah.
slavery, all that. The Lord didn't leave us unpunished. Go ahead.
Mhm. Verse 16 says, "Therefore all they that devour thee shall be devoured, and all thy adversaries, every one of them, shall go into captivity."
Sir, so all the enemies of our people, you read Psalms 33, goes into the enemies of the nation of Israel. Adversaries being your enemies.
Yep.
These heathen nations are our enemies. You seeing, you know, you mentioned Floyd Mayweather going over there to Amalek, kissing their ass. Oh man, look, man. Excuse me, Amalek number one on the list as far as hatred goes.
Yep.
Well, I mean, and yeah, I did a video some time ago, you know, on it, but he, you know, now he's got the same people that he tied himself to. Now he's suing, you know, he's suing them for hundreds of millions of dollars, which scriptures talk about, you know, never trust thy enemy. You know, we've come into this land, and before we knew this truth, this understanding, you know, we were making contracts, making agreements, and being in league with these people, not understanding, you know, the will of the Lord. You know, that they have an ultimate end, and He set them up, you know, for a season, for a purpose, you know, and eventually, you know, that He will to take them down. I think that was it in the 16. Oh, there's a little bit more. He says, and so it says, "All thy adversaries, every one of them, shall go into captivity, and they that spoil thee shall be a spoil, and all that prey upon thee will I give for a prey."
Yep. My scripture say what? Go to a bloody city is awful a lot of robbery. The prey depart not, because we're the prey. But the Lord gonna reverse that. They're gonna be our prey. We're gonna hunt you down, and we're gonna beat you down.
Yep.
You know. Look at the movie they show you in the pic, how Jacob's getting their backs beaten and all that shit. Man, y'all watching out shot for his anger and fury in us.
Yeah. Let me read this. This is a prey. It says, this is Webster Dictionary. It's B. It says, one that is helpless or unable to resist attack, victim. And what happened to these three men?
No, I'm saying that's perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
James 5. You know, you have killed. What is that? You have killed the just.
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking about
And
that.
they're not resisting, huh?
So I was thinking about that precept.
Yeah, you read it, bro.
Count.
That's perfect. That's read it again, Uncle Sean. That's beautiful. Because Jake can't resist. Jake get.
Yeah, that's the lady. Like, just to use this example with the Carmelo Anthony. You know, the lady in the video was like, you know, when we, well, and I'm just roughly paraphrasing. I remember this one part she said, but she was like, when we aren't doing anything, you know, you guys are coming against us. Since then, when we fight back, you know, y'all coming against us. Like, it's like nothing that we could do to keep y'all from continuously coming against us.
Yeah.
You know.
Because, you know, since it's fresh, the little dude was getting jumped.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck how everything played out. If you get jumped, you had a blade on you, what you would do?
Yep. Gotta use it.
4 motherfuckers jumping you. But anyway, go ahead.
Yeah. But yeah, that's. You got it.
Yep, this is James.
Oh, he wanted me to read this again. Salakia. He says pray, one that is helpless or unable to resist attack victim.
I'm on.
Yep, this is James chapter 5, and I'll start at verse 4. It says, "Behold, the hire of the laborers who have reaped down your fields."
Israelites, so-called Negro Latino name murders.
Mm-hmm. It says, "Which is of you, kept back by fraud."
Real quick, another definition. It says to seize or devour prey. Then it says to commit violence or robbery or fraud.
You can watch the whole civil rights movement shit.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Watch the Willie Lynch letters. Watch the slave movies. Watch the 80s riots, 90s riots.
60s.
That's the civil rights movement.
Yeah, yeah.
That was all just. Oh, the Black Wall Street lady, she died without getting compensated, right?
Well, that was orchestrated because while that was pending in court, the I think it was the 118th Congress of 2023 and 2024, they put House Resolution HR number 4321 on the books, and that resolution said that any state or municipality that puts forth legislation geared towards reparations for the descendants of slaves will not receive any financial assistance in case of a major disaster.
That's an unrighteous decree.
Yeah, so and they did that, and right after it hit, the judge overturned. Well, they denied the thing, and then see now and then it was up to that point they were saying, well, they was only giving reparations to people that actually survived.
She was survived.
They lied. Yeah, and it actually started out with 3 of them. 3 of them were alive when they filed the case, but by the time it got to her, they had 1 left, and then once it was over, she passed away.
Yep. So they basically waited out her death. But she gonna get that back in the kingdom.
Yep.
You got that.
Yep, going back into James chapter 5, verse 4, it says, "Behold, the hire of the laborers who have reaped down your fields, which is of you, kept back by fraud, crieth." We know what another word for fraud is deceit. So, you know, like, case in point, you know, they say what, you know, when our paychecks and things of that nature get taxed, they say it's going to, you know, fixing the streets and construction and certain buildings and things of that nature, or fixing the infrastructure of this place. But we know good and goddamn well our taxes is going over to fund the wars that's currently taking place as we speak.
Israel, right
Yep.
now.
Yep.
You know,
Great.
their whole welfare thing, man, is immaculate.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you get so much money for the kids up until age 18. You know, they got generational wealth already from our money.
Yep.
Also, the look at the gas.
Yep.
That gas under $3 in a lot of places now. Just over $5 to fund the wars. They raise the taxes. But go ahead, Al.
Yep. It says, "And the cries of them which have reaped are entered into the ears of the Lord of Sabaoth," or Lord of armies. It says, "Ye have lived in pleasure on the earth and been wanton. Ye have nourished your hearts as in the day of slaughter." It says, "Ye have condemned and killed the just, and he doth not resist you." You know, going back into that Sirach 34 that was brought out, man. You know, the bread of the needy is his life. Whoso defraudeth him is a bloodshed. You know, and ultimately, we see in today's day and age, right, the cost of living is going up. The cost of everything is going up, but the wages ain't matching it. You see, and these fucking elites, man, they have the power to, you know, pretty much, you know, fix everything that's going on the earth, man. But, you know, through the wickedness, through the greed, okay, they're heaping all the resources and riches to themselves, while the common folk are just left to suffer, man. That was it today.
Yep. I'll finish this. You got more in the article? Mm-hmm. All right. This is verse 17, Jeremiah 30, verse 17. It says, "For I will restore health unto thee." This is Israel. It says, "And I will heal thee of thy wounds," saith Yahweh, "because they called thee an outcast, saying, This is Zion, whom no man seeketh after."
Yep. And the health and the wounds is talking about what? Us being on the bottom, us being in captivity. The Lord's going to heal us from all that shit. You know what? It's going to make us whole again by placing us above all these nations. We're going to see Deuteronomy 76 be fulfilled. Us truly being above these heathen and rule over these heathen, you know what I'm saying, in righteousness. You know? Go ahead.
Yeah. Thus saith the Lord, Yahweh, behold, I will bring again the captivity of Jacob's tents, and have mercy on his dwelling places.
Yep.
And the city shall be built upon her own heap,
See?
and the palace shall remain after the manner thereof.
Yeah. And there's a way that the kingdom of heaven is going to be built up. All right, it's going to be beautified. You know, gold streets, you know, gates, you name it. Right now, you don't see that in the land of Israel.
Yeah, Slaki.
Because the people of Israel are not in the land. So that's how you know that the kingdom of heaven ain't here. As far as being manifested on earth right now. Because the way that the kingdom of heaven is going to be built up is going to be way more above any kingdom that was ever built. You have some of these kingdoms that was built up pretty nicely, with royal things, but not like the kingdom of heaven for the Israelites. You know, you got it.
Yeah, just a thought I had yesterday that came across my mind, personal thought, and I'm sure many brothers could actually attest to this, but I had thought on it, and I was like, I didn't even know, like, my father's, I didn't get to meet my father's father, right? So you're talking about a lineage of people where it's been cut off. Mm-hmm. You're talking about going into a kingdom of heaven where you know your father, you know, of course, the men of the Lord, the elect men, will be the forefathers, you know, who start the nation. But to not have your lineage cut off, to know who your many children are walking around of so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians that don't know their father.
Yeah.
You know, their father, you know, their current father, let alone their father's father, mm-hmm. you know, and then their father's father's father, right? Yeah. So not understanding how big of effect that has on a nation, mm-hmm. to not even be connected in such a way. Like he told Jeremiah, thou even thyself shall discontinue from thy heritage, right? And part of our heritage is, you know, the land, our language, and of course we've been brought into a land of our enemy who practically, you know, beat that all out of us. As he said, he helped forward the affliction, mm-hmm. of the people. And so again, being an outcast, you know, we're really lost, you know, out here if you don't have your Yahweh Shai to guide you to understand why these things are happening. We got a little bit more here.
Just a couple more paragraphs.
All right, let's finish the 2 paragraphs. Anybody a little last scripture too, we'll end it up.
Okay, it says, in this environment, sensational reports of black men raping a white woman set off a mob mentality among white people in Duluth. On the evening of June 15th, a mob of 5,000 to 10,000 white people gathered at the jail and seized 3 of the arrested black men. And
you notice how, like, we know the tides are changing because they keep, you know, every time we would read things like this, there's always an accusation of a black man doing something to a white woman. right? So-called white woman. But now we're looking at today's time, how much they are eager to be with us.
Yep.
All right. So there must be something about the narrative of the past, you know, because they're so eager to be amongst our people or be amongst our men. So we look back now, we say, yeah, they were definitely falsely accusing us. You know, probably jealous that white women probably looked at us and said something, you know, under their breath or something. You know, there's like a number of things going on. You know, you be at work, you know, men be at work, or they out there, they at the circus, you know, and of course these men during that time probably was, you know, good looking men, 20-year-olds, good looking men, chocolate men, you know, more likely, and they in the circus, so they building and lifting all that stuff. You know what I'm saying? You have to build up and break things down. Yeah, there's some type of you can see there's some type of jealousy on these men, because it was 6. I think it was like 6 total that was taken, but out of them, you know, the 3, you know, were taken. Go ahead, Salaki.
Okay, back to the article. It says the Minnesota National Guard arrived the next morning to secure the area and guard the surviving arrested men. But no one was ever arrested or convicted for the lynchings. Go figure. All right, last paragraph. It says more than 80 years later, on October 10th, 2003, a memorial to the 3 men was dedicated in Duluth near the site of their deaths. Today, Duluth residents are working to further document and memorialize the city's history of racial terror lynching. In September of 2017, local residents joined with EJI staff to organize a soil collection near the site where Mr. McGee, Mr. Clayton, and Mr. Jackson were lynched. And in October 2020, the Clayton Jackson McGee Memorial and the Duluth chapter of the NAACP, along with the cities and community members that partnered with EJI to unveil a historical marker honoring 3 men.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Precept. All right.
I got something.
Go ahead.
Because you go into the NAACP, right? You mentioned it. Read the last part again, Papa Sean.
It says, and in October of 2020, the Clayton Jackson McGee Memorial and the Duluth chapter of the NAACP, along with city officials and community members, partnered with EJI to unveil a historical marker enjoying the 3 men.
Right. And you look at that was controlled opposition, because the NAACP was not founded by Jay.
Nope.
It really go back to Amalek founding that shit. So they trying to act like, you got some of these Edomites be like, well, all white people wasn't bad. No. You Edomites was all hand in hand together. You know what I'm saying? Because it's the same story, same paper.
Yep.
And then if all y'all ain't, as far as you Edomites, you got some Israelites look so far white too. But if all you Edomites was not in on it, what was the fight for justice? What's the fight to bring justice to Jake? There's none. It says scripture say what? Truth faileth. All right, the truth faileth. You don't want to hear the truth. When Jake tell the truth, or when Jake in the right, you still punish Jake. Jake is still on the flip side of the law. Meaning what? He's always the one going to be done wrong. All right. Isaiah 10:1. Woe to you who have scribed unrighteous decrees. All right. Because why? The unrighteous decrees or the laws you have on the books, it's all geared to what? To afflict us, to oppress us even more. You know what I'm saying? That's why the Lord said, for the oppression of his people will he rise. You know what I mean?
God. Hit the Galatians 6. 6 and 7 was.
This is the book of Galatians, chapter 6 and verse 7. It says, "Be not deceived, the Most High is not mocked. For whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he also reap." You know, and ultimately Esau, even the so-called white man, you are not exempt from that, man. Okay, at the end of the day, everybody has to reap everything they sow. Okay, for the things that they've done in this body, whether it be good or bad. And the majority of things that you've done as a nation are straight up wicked. Alright, and not only that, man, that wickedness is being directed, alright, towards the Lord's chosen people. Right, the book of Zechariah says, "He that toucheth you, touch the apple of mine eye." You know, whoever put their hands on the Israelites, alright, the Lord's chosen people, they touched the Lord's most prized possession. Okay, and you gotta pay for that, man. Because you know what, your kingdom is falling. Okay, you're going into slavery. And after you're done serving your captivity, your whole nation is going to be wiped out, man. According to the book of Obadiah. That's it.
All right. So with that, we hope this lesson was edifying to the elect body of the nation of Israel. Once again, going to give all praises, glory, and honor to
Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Rakakadash.
Double honors to our apostles and elders of Great Millstone who were well in teaching us this 100% truth. Salutations to them and our fellow Akim who labor in this truth week in and week out on the highway to byways. Also salutations to the hopeful elect of the scattered 12 tribes of Israel, scattered to the four corners of the earth, that be like unto the speckled bird, also known as your Israelite foreigners and your so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. Shalom.
Shalom.